Well, hello again. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I connect to an Aquascape Biofalls. In this case, I've got the smaller of the Biofalls. It's the Biofalls 1000. I'm going to be showing you the fittings I use, the pipework run that's going back down to the pump that's going to be sitting in the bottom of an Aquascape pond vault. The pump I'm using is an EcoWave 8000. Now, before we get over there and start installing it, we need to talk about what is a Biofalls. It's a product by Aquascape that serves a couple of functions really. It's a component that we can form the rock work around to form our waterfall, to make it natural, to make it blend in. We attach our liner to it to provide a water sealed joint, and also it's where it houses the biomedia, which in this case is going to be some bioballs, which are plastic balls. You'll see me put them in later, and they're basically going to start colonizing and housing beneficial bacteria. So when the water passes through the bottom of the biofalls, it passes up through that biomedia, it cleans the water, and then it comes over the top, spills out to give that natural looking waterfall. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to get this bulkhead fitted, attached to the back of the biofalls here. So we're going to turn that round, and this is where this fitting goes. It's a left-handed thread, reverse thread. It's got hard washer and a rubber washer. The rubber washer goes on the water side, hard washer goes on the outside. So I'm just going to put a little bit of silicone around that, around this side, tighten it up with a pair of channel locks. Not going to make it too tight, just past hand tight should be enough, otherwise you can risk popping these plastic threads if you overdo it. Left hand thread, and that's enough for that. And then where's the other fitting? Up here. So this fitting here, standard thread, I'm going to put some silicone on it. We're going to screw that into that female thread there. A little turn with the channel locks. Then we're all good. And then our pipe work can be hot glued into here. I'm going to come out the back of this with a 45, then a 90, and then run that round there, and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so I've got the pipe work and some fittings glued in to biofalls. Just lean over the top there, you can see I've got an elbow and a 45. Length of pipe going to an isolation valve. That valve then will have some pipe work coming down here, and in between the edge of the pond, it's going to come down in this corner, hidden by the sandstone on this side, this side, and the boulders on this side. You won't see that, obviously the liner's got to go first. I've got this cut out here for the overflow, so again, when the liner's in here, that'll be put through there, silicone joint, and that's just going to be lower than the course here, where the liner's going to be lipped over. So obviously it's going to come out of this pipe before it reaches that height there, which is very important. And also very important is when gluing these joints with the hot glue, I put a coating of the hot glue around the male part, as in the pipe, the female part, the fitting, and give it a twist all the way around. Hold it for 30 seconds just to let the contact be strong to start with, and then let it go, and then move on to the next joint. And doing that has not failed me yet. So yeah, I'm going to get some soil in here now so I can start getting this compacted, get this fixed in place. I've just got these pieces of stone here at the minute holding it, because if they weren't here, where that pipe's got a bit of coil on it, it's wanting to bring the biofalls this way. So we're going to get some soil in there. This is going to be rocked around, so from the outside of the pond here, if you need to isolate anything, you can lean over, lift a rock up, and that valve will be nice and accessible from the edge of the pond here. Okay, let's carry on. One more little tip, something I like to do where possible, is to fill the biofalls up. Obviously I've got the valve, close this end, puts this under pressure, puts these joints under pressure, and lets me just double check that we've got no leaks before this is all sold in. Bit of blue roll under the joints is a easy indicator if you've got any issues with water leaking, where you can't see so well. So that's all good. I'm going to leave that in there because that's going to help hold that in place anyway while I saw that round. So yeah, let's get some soil in here now. So I've got the biofalls in, it's level left to right as you can see, and then how I like to do it is just a slight tilt on the level going forward. So if I lift that up a slight, so it's just coming forward this way into the pond. So as you may or may not be able to see on the video, it started raining again. So I've got a couple of rocks, or 3 rocks, just at the back of that biofalls, just to get that started off. I'm not going to do too much more until I've got this layer of sandstone up in front. Then I can start building that berm up, planting and rocks, and I can really cover where I've got that perspex in the side of the biofalls, and that'll be dressed with some logs as well. Okay, so next up we're going to be getting the pump and the dual union check valve adapter into the pump vault, get them connected up, and I'll show you how that goes now. Okay, so first of all what we need to do is connect this dual union check valve adapter onto this EcoWave 8000 pump, and this is the separate part that I bought extra, which is the adapter to adapt this onto the pump. So first thing we need to do is unscrew this union valve here and take off this fitting that comes with the dual union check valve. Put that there, and then we can slide that into there. Basically replace that part. That's got a female thread, 63mm or 2-inch, that screws onto there. So just keep that union slack for now while we're screwing that on. That's nicely on. This gives us then the ability to swivel this in whatever direction we want inside the pump, and we can tighten that fully. Now this dual union check valve, basically it's got a flapper valve in there, so if the power should ever turn off with the power cut, or for whatever reason when the system's running, the water from the biofalls over there will stop at a valve here. It's like a flapper valve, it drops shut and keep the water inside the pipework rather than filling that water back up into the pond. So it's just a bit of insurance really. So we're going to get that in the pump valve now. Okay, so I've just put the pump and the dual union adapter into the pump vault. As you can see, there's a ready-made cutout in the top of the vault here, so the pipework will be glued to here, coming around here, round the back. I've left this space here to run the pipework, and that's going to be coming up over this cable and then joining up to the ball valve I've already laid over there. As you can see, I've already got the electrical cable plugged into that new socket that I had fitted, so that cable will be routed over here. This has got another row of blocks coming up, so that will be all secured and buried inside there. And again, there's a little notch cut away on the top of the pump vault where the cable can exit to the pump vault nice and safely. So just a little bit of a progress clip on the internal block work. As you can see, it's all been locked together with the river gravel and some waterfall foam just holding it all together. So that's coming along nicely. So this level here is pretty much where it needs to be, where I've left that area lower, so that's going to be rocked up to the biofalls. Here's going to be going out another couple of courses of this stonework, so we're going up past the overflow pipe level, and then we'll be going back to a mortar bed on top, so it ties in with the next course of this. And then we have the final piece of pipe work going into the pump vault. We've got a glued elbow there going onto this glued slip to a female 2-inch thread onto that union, which then goes to the check valve. So that's all good. Okay, so now I'm just going to hook up the biofalls. I've got this faceplate that's going to go on here. Inside here there are screw holes that correspond with all the holes on here. Once it's lined up, I'll use a bradawl just to punch it through the liner. We're going to put some silicone between here and here, secure that to that with the screws, and then we can cut out the shape of it afterwards. And also I'm going to be cutting off this lip so I can get a flush finish up to the front of the biofalls, but I'm going to do that at the end. And the other thing to make sure of when you're hooking up this biofalls with the liner, allow a good bit of slack under here. You want this piece to be nice and flat, no creases. Here, give a bit of slack. We're obviously going to be building that round with the rocks so the water falls into the feature here. But if you just allow that bit of slack, it allows for any movement that does occur or any work that needs to be done afterwards. You've got that extra little bit of play on that liner when we're putting all the rocks in the way. And then we're going to take a brand new blade in our knife and we're just going to run around the inside of here and slightly round the corners. When you get to the corner, don't square it, go in a round motion. Fine tune that corner. That's all good to go. So we'll get that cut off, then we can start forming this waterfall, bringing this edge of this line around so all the water then gets contained within the feature. Okay, so now we're going to get the filter mats and the bioballs inside this biofalls. As you can see, the water comes in at the back there from the pipework and it hits this. It's like a protruding moulding in here that adds to the vortex motion. So when the water comes in, it gives it that kind of swirly whirlpool action as it comes up, just to get the water moving. So then we've got these filter mats. These are going to sit on top of that there, and they won't go any further than that vortex. Then what we've got are the bioballs. Now if you've not seen a bioball before, we put quite a good few of them inside one of these netted bags, and it's all this surface area on here that the beneficial bacteria eventually colonizes on, and then when the water passes up, it sits in these bags here. We're going to weight it down with some cobbles as well to disguise it so it doesn't float up, but it's when the water passes through all that beneficial bacteria, it's that motion that cleans the water as it comes through, and it's what basically is the heart of this system, the kidneys if you like. It helps keep the system clean, and it comes back, it aerates again when it hits these rocks, the waterfall through the pump in there and then back round again. So it's getting cleaned, it's getting aerated, and that is the principle of a aquascape ecosystem pond, and also the principle in nature, which is what we are trying to replicate. So the bioballs are inside the bag, they are nicely spread out in the bottom of there. Now I'm going to get some cobbles just to put on top to help disguise that, and also the cobbles are going to add even more surface area. So when the water passes through the bioballs, it's got the surface area of all those cobbles as well to colonize on. And there we have it, fully dressed. And there we have the finished waterfall, the biofalls completely hidden.